Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Eye on the Tigers, your favorite spot for learning more about past, future, and current LSU Tigers. My name is Bryce. I'm with my buddy Byron here, co-hosts of the Off the Dome Sports Podcast, a Louisiana sports podcast coming to you straight from the No Network at Be in the Know. You see it there in the corner. And today we have a very special guest, the newest LSU Tiger, a man who's going to take the mound next season, and we expect to do very, very big things in an LSU Tiger jersey. Zac Cowan. How you doing, Zac?
I'm doing well. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
appreciate you coming on. I mean,
glad to have you.
it's big not only for the program but for us. So we're really excited to be able to talk to you and kind of work through what you've been through, where you're going to go, and what does LSU have in store. So I mean, obviously the first story we have to talk about is coming out of high school, recruit, but mainly as a hitter. I mean, I looked as much as I could for some past information on you coming out of high school, and you were a shortstop. You were a great hitter, all state, all district, all that good stuff. But then you go on to be a pitcher. So how did that change develop, and what do you think led to that change?
Yeah, so it was kind of crazy, like you said. I pretty much all 4 or 5 years in high school, I was a hitter. I was a shortstop. I did all that. I didn't throw a lot of innings during high school. I actually only threw 9 innings my senior year on the mound. So going into my freshman year at Wofford, I was recruited as a two-way, but mainly as a position player. But I got there in the fall at Wofford, and a couple things just clicked on the mound and kind of took off from there. I was still adjusting with everything, learning how to actually pitch, but that's kind of how my recruiting went. Like you said, I was recruited as a two-way, and the pitching kind of just clicked for me.
Yeah, it reminds me of some current LSU Tigers like Jake Brown and Gavin Guidry, who we know can do both, but have really excelled in one point. So glad to have another versatile guy on the mound.
Yeah,
Yeah.
always helps. Always helps, definitely. Um, Kind of bouncing off of that, when we stated that you played the infield and you pitched, what were some MLB players that might have influenced your game? You might have modeled your game after on either one or both sides of the ball.
So growing up, when like we talked before, I'm a Cubs fan, so I kind of watched a lot of Javier Baez play the infield. So I kind of tried to model my infield game after him a little bit. And growing up, he wasn't with the Cubs for long, but Marcus Stroman, I've watched him pitch a good bit. So those are the kind of the two guys. After I stopped fielding and hitting, I kind of just took on the role of watching guys pitch, and that was kind of who I looked after. So
That was an awesome answer, in my opinion.
Yeah, the Cubs fan, of course, he would think that. So we talked a little bit about your recruitment and what that was like coming out of two way, but what specifically led you to Wofford, and what were some other schools who were in the conversation, but what led you to being a Terrier?
yeah, so my recruiting process wasn't very long. Well, it was long with Wofford because Wofford was the only school that actually seriously recruited me out of high school. Um, I wouldn't say that's the only school that gave me a chance, but it's the only, you know, bigger, not because it's not big, but the only school that actually gave me a chance to do both out of high school. Because going into college, I felt like I would still be a hitter and a infielder. So they kind of recruited me. I had a good relationship with the head coach, or the who was the assistant coach is the head coach now. And we kind of developed a really good relationship over a year of communication. And then I committed in April of my junior year of high school, and it felt right. It was close to home. Everything about it felt right. It's a smaller school, good academics, obviously, but it was close, and everything with it just felt right, and it was a really good 2 years there.
Yeah, when you know, you know. That's how I felt about LSU. So
Yep,
glad to see you putting on that jersey soon.
for sure.
um, Skipping forward a little bit, we're going to talk about more recent times like this regional. What was it like playing in the postseason in the NCAA, especially when you found out that you'd have to be matched up against some big powerhouse programs like LSU and UNC?
Yeah, so it was awesome. So we won our conference tournament, so we knew we were getting in. But still, watching that selection show was quite the adrenaline rush, and just finding out who you're playing. And obviously, it was LSU, defending national champ. So it was kind of a really cool moment, and actually getting there, to Chapel Hill, experiencing everything. It was just overall really cool experience for everyone, especially our seniors, because they had a rough couple last 2 years with our conference tournament, losing twice on championship day. So it was really cool for them, first year head coach especially, and it was just it was awesome for everyone to be able to experience that.
Yeah, I mean, as a Tiger fan, we obviously wish that regional would have turned out a little bit differently. But it was some high quality baseball we got to watch. We got to watch a team who's making a run in Omaha right now, and UNC. Obviously our hometown team in LSU, and then got to experience the Wofford Terriers and their ace, who we're talking to right now, Zac Cowan. So you have to make a very personal and tough decision to enter that transfer portal after the regional's over. And for me, I just want to know, what was that conversation like? Like, how do you knock on that door and talk to Coach Edwards, and how do you navigate that process? Talking to your family, talking to your friends, talking to your teammates. Like, what is that whole process like for you?
Yeah, so it was a pretty long week in deciding which direction I wanted to go, because ultimately my heart was still at Wofford. I loved everything about it. Had nothing bad to say about it. I had a really good relationship with Coach Edwards and everyone else on staff. We were a really tight knit team. With it being such a small school, everyone does everything together, always hanging out together. So we were all close. And I just think leading up to that decision, me and my family talking, I think what made me the deciding factor for me was, not wanting to go to a bigger school necessarily. It was just, you know, wanting the better competition, wanting the exposure, on the development side of things, wanting that extra edge. And, I just felt like I wasn't going to get that at Wofford, not meaning it's a bad school or anything like that. I just, that was kind of what decided me to, end up transferring.
Yeah, that makes sense. I understand that. More exposure, really
Yeah.
get your name out there, and be
Yeah,
able to show the talent that you have on a big stage.
Yeah, I
for
mean, as
sure.
we say down here, with the SEC, it just means more. Like
Yeah.
you hear it all the time on national television. It's just a different whole feel to the entire of college sports.
Yeah, no
Um,
doubt.
but kind of going on off of that, we saw that JJ Edwards, the coach at Wofford, fantastic coach, long
Mhm.
history of winning. Do you see any similarities between him and Jay Johnson?
Um, I'd say there are a couple similarities. My interactions with Coach Johnson at LSU, I feel like he's big on the relationship side of things, and, teaching you how to be a good person. Because I kind of got that impression from him on my visit, is he was very good with me and my family, helping us out, just talking us through everything. So I think they kind of have that same correlation, because Coach Edwards at Wofford, he was all about that. Of course he was, and baseball was important to him, but it's a lot more just baseball. It's outside of baseball, what's important to you outside. So I think they can kind of correlate in those aspects.
Did Coach Johnson have a big play in why you ended up coming to LSU? Like, what were the specific reasons? And I mean, we know Coach Jay Johnson is one of the best coaches in college baseball. We've seen that firsthand the past 3 years. But why specifically LSU? And did you seeing them in person, being able to play against that team, did that have any contribution into that decision?
Honestly, I would say seeing them and playing them didn't have much contribution, because honestly the transfer portal wasn't really on my mind at that point. Because like I said, that week I was kind of deciding which way I wanted to go. But with Coach Johnson, he was, the day that I entered, he was one of the very first couple schools to call me, and he was on me from the beginning. And I just kind of I felt it felt good in that way, because it was similar to how Wofford recruited me. They were on me from the beginning. They recruited me for a while, and it just felt right. We went on my visit on Monday, and everything about it felt right from the time we got there, from the morning that we left. How they treated us, everything from the tour to the food to, I mean, everything. It just felt right, and it felt like that was just the place that I wanted to be, and I didn't want to wait any longer to make a decision, and I didn't feel like I needed to see any more schools or go any more visits. It just what Coach Johnson did, what Coach Jordan did, and all the other coaches, everything just felt right, like I said. So
Yeah, it pumps me up as an LSU fan to know that the impression was that great that you didn't even have to worry
yeah,
about anybody else.
absolutely.
Going back to a point you threw in there, though, you said something about the food. What kind of food did they feed you on that kind of visit?
Um, well, we actually went to the athletic dining hall for lunch. That was awesome. So
Good
I got
place.
to
I've
experience.
eaten
I
there.
got
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got a glimpse of that. And for dinner, they took us to a really nice dinner that night. They say they go to Fleming's a lot for dinner, so that was kind of cool to experience that. But yeah, it was just awesome. We had a nice breakfast before they dropped us back at the airport that morning, so it was awesome. It was awesome.
Get used to the good food. It'll keep on coming
Yeah,
at you down
yeah.
here. I
Yeah,
promise.
Yeah, if
I'm looking
you're
forward.
ever looking for somewhere to eat or somewhere to go, you let us know. We'll get you to the right places.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Now I'm going to kind of break down, your performance, your pitching a little bit. So like, what do you consider your strength and your weaknesses as a pitcher?
Um, I think my strength is my mentality. I know you probably get that a lot. It's a little cliche, but coming into my sophomore year, or going into my freshman year, I was still learning how to actually pitch. And I think I learned a lot in my freshman year that helped me grow in my sophomore year. And I think that's part of why I had a good year. And I think whether it's my secondary pitches and my weaknesses, I wouldn't even consider it a weakness. Is my velo's not super high like you see at all these other SEC schools, but I think growing from my freshman year into my sophomore year, I consider that one of my strengths, and it helped me develop a lot.
Yeah, as a pitcher, especially when it comes to the bigger stages, you got to have a tough mentality to be able to get through those tough innings, those big
Yeah.
hitters. Moving on from that, let the fans get to know what's your pitch repertoire.
So I throw a four seam fastball. My go-to off speed is my changeup, and then I throw a slider as well. So
Yeah. Keep it
I
simple.
yeah, my slider I didn't throw a lot freshman year. Worked on it a lot going the summer going into my sophomore year, and it ended up being a really good third pitch for me this year. So
Yeah, I dig the short rotation repertoire like that because like if you can hone in on 3 pitches that you can throw fantastic, then
yeah,
guys aren't going to be able to hit it. You don't have to throw 6 pitches in order to be a good pitcher. And I think we've
yeah,
seen that with former LSU pitchers too. I
mhm,
mean, it's not like Skeens throws a bunch of different pitches. He kind of hones in on 3 as well. Aaron Nola was never a big 6 pitch guy. He really worked on his craft and was really good.
mhm,
So I'm glad to hear that, you're focused and hyper focused on the improvement and growth and development rather than trying to be this all around, like, I'm going to throw everything in the kitchen sink at you.
yeah, for sure. And it was kind of because like I said, I didn't throw a slider a lot my freshman year, and I only had one start my freshman year, so I felt like going into that summer, I needed to, have a third pitch that could define me as a legit starter, and I think that helped a lot. So
Yeah. And lastly, definitely not least, out of those
mhm.
3 pitches, what's your favorite to throw?
Definitely my changeup. It's it's always been a pretty good pitch for me. It was good in high school, and then I got to college and started throwing it a lot more, and it got better and better and better. And I feel like I can throw it at any count. I'm comfortable with it, confident in it. So that's definitely my go-to.
Yeah, I'm the same way. My changeup was also my go-to. Do you grip it any certain way? Normal changeup, circle change? What kind of change we talking?
Yeah, it's grip it like a two seam fastball, but with my ring and my middle finger, and then I circle it. So that's how I throw
Nice.
it.
Yep.
Yep.
Man, it's been really fun talking to you. I'm excited to get you in the purple and gold. Just knowing how focused you are on getting better every day. I think that's the most important thing, and I know that's something that Jay Johnson talks about a lot. He talked about it a lot in fall and spring, and whether it's practice or game day or the biggest game of your life, you should be getting better every day. So for you to talk about that growth and development that you go through personally, I think is really important for us as Tiger fans, and that makes us even more excited to see you. Not only that, but you're coming in with some really good recruits too. If they make it to campus, you've got some highly touted guys coming out of high school. You've got some JUCO guys coming over. And then the guy from Indiana State, Luis Hernandez, a very big hitter coming out of a small town school to join you in that recruiting class. So I think LSU fans need to be excited, not only for what we already have in store, but who's coming in as well. Last question I got for you. I see all those awards on the wall next to you. I see a bat, I see home plates, plaques. What's going on there?
I'm in my dad's office. So those are he used to be a coach when me and my brother were really young. So those are all awards from who knows how long ago. But
a talented coach's son. That is the recipe for success.
Yeah.
Zach, I want to thank you again. Thanks again for talking to us, man. We really enjoyed it. We'll have to catch back up once the season gets closer and see where you guys are at. I know we just lost out of the season, but it's still exciting to see it keep going. And, we'll see who wins the World Series this year, but I have a good feeling that next year we'll see the Tigers in Omaha again with guys like you on the squad.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much.
No, thank you.
Thanks for having me on.
No, go for it. Go for it.
Thanks again, guys. Go Tigers.
Go Tigers. That's what I like to hear.
Yes.
If you want to hear more Go Tigers, make sure to check out the No Network, theno.com. You can read all the articles, check out the podcasts at Be in the Know on all the social medias, as well as the No on YouTube, which is probably where you're watching this. So thank you for watching Eye on the Tigers. I'm Bryce with Byron and Zac Cowan. You have been watching Eye on the Tigers, and as Zac said, go Tigers. We'll see you next time.
Go Tigers. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, man.